unmarked RV at an undisclosed location. This is the Radically Vtubular podcast featuring our driver and resident human, Dan Tansky Monster Hunter.
Hello! I have no hands on the wheel.
That's okay, you can drive with your toes.
That's right.
And also featuring the bell in a shell who curses like hell, Toluca Turtle.
Greetings all, how are you?
All right, and of course me, your loudmouth Otter Dad, Otter. Hello. How's everybody feeling today?
Pretty good. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
We've dated ourselves.
It is officially VD, so we are recording on Valentine's Day, or like I like to call it, the prequel to Cheap Chocolate Day.
Yes, right. Woohoo!
The good news is the last timer and a half we tried to start this podcast episode, we ran into error after scheduling problem, but we are finally back, and I actually wrote down the script so I knew what to say rather than stumbling over my 2 feet. You may praise me now.
Thanks. You sound great.
All right. Fantastic. So, usually we would start the conversation by rolling out the picker wheel to help us pick a topic, but we have decided before recording began to focus on a specific topic, and it is very pertinent as of, and apparently my Google thingy just kind of keeled over on me. That's okay. We'll just get rid of that since I don't need it. Our topic for today is... And personally, I'm going to keep a little vague on this particular topic, but it is the topic of VTubers and corporations.
Yeah.
Deep sigh. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, deep sigh. Looks like you didn't count.
It does seem very prescient. It does.
It is in the news, as they say.
Yes.
So I personally, I don't follow a lot of corpos, and I know there's drama, and I know what the drama is. However, I don't really keep up with it. So I don't know which one of you is more versed in the drama. I don't know if we want to speak to the specific drama or if we want to keep ourselves vague. How are we feeling today about that?
Well, I mean, I am, because I took a bit of umbrage with some people saying there was certain communication between lawyers, and if one lawyer is a complete idiot and doesn't put down this is for attorney communication only, it should be private, which is basically it's boilerplate, it's what you put on everything. I mean, then that attorney is a particular idiot. So I mean, I don't believe that's the case. So it's just companies are bad, y'all. They like to break the law.
For those of us like myself who don't know what the word umbrage meant, it is an offense or annoyance.
Yes,
or
I'm sorry.
Archaic, shade or shadow, especially cast by trees. So
yes.
Take your guess as to which one he's particularly talking about. I'm going to go with trees.
Yes, I was talking about trees. I was.
Absolutely.
It's very... Yes, Canada is beautiful. It has many trees.
Totally our location. We're not driving in Canada.
I think we've been there. I think I've been driving toward Nova Scotia this whole time.
You're not supposed to tell people that, though.
Oh shit! Well, I mean, it's big. The country is big. I mean, we are in the Western Hemisphere somewhere. Somewhere.
Yeah, we're just like any other random rundown RV on the road with a man, an otter, and a turtle driving in it.
No shit.
Something you see every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's just normal life, eh?
That's right. It's just what you see.
Toss a moose in and it's an average afternoon.
So here's the deal. I guess I want to go to why do people join corporate? Why do people join these? It's not necessarily a talent agency, because that's a sort of different creature, but they quote unquote manage talent. But basically it's a corporation that owns everything except effectively your fucking voice. And if they could own that, they would.
Well,
yeah.
It just I don't know. Toluca, maybe you should start, because I'll just start ranting.
No. Hold on. I'm going to use my psychology degree and ask you, well, why do you think they do?
Why do I think? Because they can't get away with it. And if they could, they would. And believe me, in the age of AI, and especially what they're trying to do with actors and stuff, they can. Right. So if they could take your image and use it in perpetuity, or your voice your very original voice pattern,
Dan,
they
I love
would.
you, but you're driving us off the roads in more ways than one.
Oh, God, sorry.
So why do you think people sign up to be in VTuber groups?
I thought about why do companies steal stuff.
We know why companies steal stuff.
Yeah, we
Here's
all
the
know.
deal. It's in my mind, it is exactly like what was that old show from our time? Was it America's Got Talent? Where, you sign up to be a wonderful singer.
Is that not still going on?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember the first season, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
But
it's still going.
They own you lock, stock, and barrel. But it when you're young, you go, well, here's my chance. I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna sort of effectively. You don't realize what you're selling because you're young. Maybe you don't have enough money or wherewithal to get an attorney, which you should. And you're going after the dream. It's why singers join massive record labels, and it just happens in every media and every industry. You have people with clout and stuff and resources, and they take people who don't over a barrel with talent. Obviously, you as a young person, maybe you see the stars, and you don't. I think maybe they think it's easier, and it's not. I don't believe it is easier. I think emotionally, physically, we can see right now, as of this date, it's not easier because you go through a lot of fucking hell.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. I think it's like, oh, wow, they're going to give me all this. I just have to, also, it's probably one for the ego, too, because if you make it, you're like, hey, they picked me. Isn't that great? Until you realize it's a bunch of wolves that picked you. Yeah. And it's not that great,
Toluca,
so that's why.
Yes.
Well, I think people want to join because it is partly that I've made it, but it's also the fact that if you're around VTubing, let's stick there long enough, you realize how many of us have totally disappeared off the internet because we couldn't make it. I'm almost 2 years in next month in this VTubing thing, and I don't even get like 5 viewers still, even now. And that's one of the things they promise you is a huge audience. Like you could be the most talented person in the world, but without asses in the seats, what the hell good is it going to do? And it's not. So you look at them like they're going to bring you to the masses instead of you having to like climb up viewer by viewer over and over again. And they think that all this other stuff is going to happen too, because you get the fancy new model, you get like collabs, and you get merchandise, and most of us don't have merch. And you get all these like glittery, shiny things, and your brain goes, oh my God, this could be it. This could happen for me.
Shiny rock
syndrome, but I think the biggest thing is the audience, because that being an indie, it takes a lot more time, to get a big audience, because like Hollow Knight, Ninja, all those people can just look at you and say, okay, when you debut, you're going to have like, let's say 5,000 people at the base ready to view you. How many of us debuted to 5,000 people? How many of us debuted to one person?
Ourselves.
Exactly.
No, it was ourselves.
Ourselves. But yeah, so I think the biggest draw is honestly the audience, because that's what they can promise you the most of. Not just the big paycheck, although some of us are in for that and some of us aren't. But I think it involves a sheer number of fans, because when we get there, what is more in demand for you? Is it the fact that you could get a paycheck, or is it the fact that you could have tons of fans and all the residuals that could bring? Because that brings the ego boost, that brings the money, that brings everything else. So...
True.
Yeah, man. I want to be a rock star, baby.
Yeah.
Be a rock star.
Yeah.
Kind of building off of that, I think a lot of it is so being like indie, like I am below indie, and I'm so indie I don't even have talent with me. So a lot of my like. I hesitate to call them assets, but the things that I put on the screen sometimes are self-drawn. Like my model's not, a lot of my emotes aren't, and stuff. But a lot of it, like if you don't have the money to throw around, you're not gonna have, like the nice overlays. You're not gonna have the custom this, the custom that, the advertising more than anything. A buddy of mine just got partnered on YouTube. And she said that, the biggest thing of it is the advertising, the people pushing your content out there, and that's not cheap, yo.
No, it's not.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think...
And the division of labor, where we as indies, teeny indies, you look over, hey, I got to talk to my sound guy, and it's you.
It's just a mirror.
I
gotta talk to you. My
get your head out of your
whatever.
ass, man.
It's you. Yeah, it's you. So yes, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean there is not. It's nice in the fact that you can just do talent things, but then you realize. It's a bitter pill, because then you don't have any sort of freedom. You're just like, this is you. It's like jump in the clown suit, buddy. This is you. So I would tell people, it's hard, because when you're young, man, I get it. Want to be a rock star, right? I get it.
And here's the other thing, and it's not even just like VTuber corporations per se, but like even trying VTuber groups, you gotta suddenly you're beholden to this other entity, right? And so that's the nice thing about, like, if I wanted to change everything abruptly, I freaking could. I mean, I'd have to start from nothing, but the fact is, like, nobody else can tell me otherwise,
Yes. Yes.
And that's kind of the other thing is I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
no, I do know what you're going to say. Nobody tells you, like, okay. We're going to bring it up. Maybe you don't have to be beholden to a company going, hey, we want you to read this script shitting on another VTuber that left us.
There it is.
Yep.
And you're going to do it or you'll be terminated. At a certain point, this old man going to go, fuck you, but maybe not. Maybe not if this is what you got.
It depends on what your contract says, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
But conversely to all that stuff about having the fancy model and you not having to pay for it, you also don't own it.
No, you don't own shit.
So if they want to keep what they gave you, which they fucking will, you have no recourse whatsoever. So all that fancy stuff is just, it's like your mom buying you a fancy dollhouse, but saying, like, you can only play with it at certain times, and if you do something I don't like, that's my dollhouse still.
It's even worse than your mom, because if your mom's a sociopath, I mean, yes. I mean, let's go there. I mean, because they have the corporations have no inclination
I don't think we
to
have
you
the time
at all.
spoons to deal with talking about mommy issues right
now.
Yeah,
no. I'm just saying, like, the corporations don't give two flying fucks about you.
Not only that, but if you do something they don't like, or you do something that they don't want to shell out for, you spend money. I don't know how many times I heard of somebody graduating or being terminated from one of these big corpos, and I've heard I spent like $50,000 to get this up and running. I spent like $100,000 for throughout the year, whatever it is, because of new outfits, new songs, contests. And if they say we're not paying for it, even if you pay for it yourself and you get the permission, these companies can turn around and say, well, we still didn't okay it, so fuck you, you're in trouble.
And that's the thing. And I think that is, again, I'll be very honest. I think that is youth and not having the proper counsel, because it's like if I go into an apartment and I make all these wonderful fixes and repaint things, guess what? Who's the asshole when I can't? I've added all this improvement. Okay, that's great. I don't own anything. Goodbye. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. At no point should they have spent their own money, because it's not theirs.
But that's not.
It's going somewhere else.
They're having at that moment. They're just thinking about the just the product basically, which is
they're trying to make something cool.
Yep.
Yeah, they're trying, hey, maybe something for the fans, and that's great and all. But you're really fucking slitting your own throat.
You know what? Do you ever think, and just this thought just occurred to me, that maybe one of the reasons that older VTubers like us are looked down upon is the perpetuation of the preferred victims of the corporate situation?
You are not the only person. I've heard from another attorney friend of mine that certain, let's say certain high-tech companies, they love autistic people. They will go out of their way to hire autistic people. You know why? Because they're looking forward to somebody they can work to death who has few friends and social interactions. They'll target these people and perp on them. I mean, and don't think they don't, hashtag not all autistic people. But I'm saying these companies look for people like that. They will ask, do you have a lot of friends? Do this. And you'll say, honestly, no, hey, I'm autistic. I do. Oh, really? Tell us more. Yeah, no, I stay home. I do this.
Tell us your
so you wouldn't mind. Yeah, tell us your vulnerability. So you wouldn't mind working for us for 120 hours
like
a week.
A new controlling boyfriend when he's like, so how often do you hang out with your family? How often? Yeah. No.
I mean, and this is not new. Hey, guys, go back and look at the Pullman company. You had Pullman Homes. You had Pullman restaurant. You had Pullman fucking stores. You never left the Pullman complex. This is just the digital version. It's just the digital version. I mean, I don't see that changing. I don't see that changing. And I think when you're young, hey, man, I mean, I was young, too. We were all young. Maybe nobody's going to tell you what to do. If you want to follow stuff, you go follow it. Nobody wants to hear, hey, maybe you should really think about this. I don't know if, fuck you. I want this. I want to see, and then you become old and bitter pretty much because you have been screwed over. Yep. It's a learning process. That's wisdom. Wisdom involves pain.
Some people would rather take like the couple of years of what they perceive as pain than not having made it at all. And I think there is this thing where people think as long as I can progress, I can handle it. Like whatever you throw at me, as long as there's a definitive end, I can handle it. But you see, the problem with that thinking is some of these people, they suffer mentally, physically, emotionally, and it gets to the point where you might lose more than just a couple of years through toil in someone else's sewer. You could lose your life. You could lose your sanity.
And again, the company don't care. In fact, they'll make a fake response by you because they don't give a shit.
Now let me add. Let's try
allegedly.
From Minecraft. Let's try a little exercise. So I'm not well versed in scenarios. So let me tell you what I've understood from cursory pathing information that I've gathered, and tell me how right I am or am not. Okay?
All right.
Okay, so my understanding of the current situation at hand is that this particular individual, I'm not going to name any names because Otter don't got a lawyer. I got Dan and a rock.
You're fine. This is newsworthy. This is public interest. This is a matter of public. Nobody going to touch you, buddy. You'll be fine. If you were in Japan, they'd sue you under the ground.
That's fair. My never going to Japan then. My understanding of the scenario is that this individual was stressed out, worked to the bone, more or less, to the point where, unfortunately, she attempted to unalive herself. And that's
there is. Okay, I got you. There is more to that. There was, and I think these people, I'm going to say corporate bullying because I think these fucking people outed themselves. Mm-hmm. I think in a tradition of Japan, the particular company is called a black company, also known as unscrupulous or sweatshop. They don't give a fuck. In my mind, that's all companies, all publicly owned companies. Let's say that. So effectively, this person spent a whole bunch of money. They said they would be allowed to do something, and then they had the rug pulled out from under them. And again, I it is a certain amount of naivete, but legally, you take that person as you find them. Okay. You take whoever it is that you've harmed as you find them. It doesn't. You don't get to go, well, they were sensitive or what. No, fuck you. You take that person as they come. So this company, did they have a duty to keep her alive? You know what? They certainly did, because they talk about protecting their talent. Well,
yes, they do.
When you say shit like that, guess what? Then you've got a duty to protect your goddamn talent. You don't get to fuck them over left and right. And when you do, if something bad happens, fuck you. Yeah.
There was even an official admission of harassment and stuff, and they just kind of swept past that as fast as they possibly could.
They could. Yes. So, I mean, I guess the grand scheme of this is that person, in my mind, is very successful, also young, and also wanted to go like the extra mile. Like a lot of the talents, I think they feel after the shine wears off, you realize you have these fucking golden handcuffs, as it were. And it's like, hey, I want to do a concert. No. Hey, I want to do this. No. And then you sort of chafe, and then you start spending your own money. The company doesn't give a shit. It's your money. They don't care. What they do care about is,
Their money.
Yeah, it's their money. So will this make them look bad? Because you're doing stuff, and effectively you're theirs. You know, so if you put on a concert using that model, it's their model. So they can absolutely screw you over. So was she naive in thinking that she'd spend all that money, it would be fine? Maybe. Or maybe they told her it would be fine. But
yeah, I'm leaning towards the latter.
old Dan would say you're still naive unless you get that shit in writing. So
well, I mean, that goes for just about anything, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but it shouldn't, you know? If you and I are talking and stuff, I mean, if we do stuff and we go, yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, here it is. Legally, all right, here, I'm going to use another word. It's called promissory estoppel. So if we promise something to each other and I spend money to my detriment, it is a contract, even though it's not really. The court has kind of end-arounded it, so people don't get fucked over. Not with Japanese law and not with these particular kind of companies. Yeah, so
I don't know how well versed you are on Japanese law.
No, I know it's not like ours.
Is a thing.
Yeah, and I know their libel is not like ours at all. So the deal is, and she probably didn't know anything about that. Who does, right? Who does?
Do we know where she's from? Is she also from Japan?
She's Canadian. She's Canadian.
Yeah, she's Canadian.
Allegedly.
Oh, good
Lord. She's a sweetheart Canadian.
Poor
and and she's very young, and she relied to promises, I believe, to her detriment. And she's effed over. See, unfortunately for the other company, those laws are going to take place in Canada if she sues them. So fuck yourself. But all of that is regardless of the point that it caused her such emotional trauma.
Well, yeah.
That, I mean, fuck, man. Do they even on the other side? Does her management team not consider that stuff? They had personal contact with this person for years. Do they not understand this person is effectively young and maybe not in the best place, or, maybe just treating everybody with decency? I don't know. And if you promise something, maybe go through with it. Don't change your mind. Whatever.
Well,
you know what? Fuck you guys.
Here's the kicker for me, though, is like, they might have not had a leg to stand on, like morally, but at least legally, if they didn't just keep going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they dig deeper.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a super villain.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't. Again, when they had their own, like the other English talent, sort of like, man, it was like a hit piece attacking this poor woman. And on her channel, and they're sort of coming at her, and then you go, what? Listen, okay, some of those people, I guess they're still young, but if you're going to say, hey, look, we want you to do this, you're contractually obligated, no, I'm not, I quit.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm not. Because at a certain point, you say that shit, okay, that's going to follow you for the rest of your life.
But think about this too, though. If they have, let's say one person drops out, and then they say to the other people, yeah, shit on her. Like, that's what you have agreed to do, is like make the company, let's say they worded something like, you have to be a representation for the company that makes it in the best possible light, or whatever the fuck. Well, you could just turn around, and if a lot of them quit in solidarity, or even because they don't want to like smear somebody out of nowhere, to have a lot of them quit would really make it look like even worse than it did.
Well, I mean, so bad for the company, but I thought you were going to go something else, that they had no choice. And I'm like, yeah, man, you always get a choice.
No, you get a choice.
Yeah, those people made a terrible choice.
You do always have a choice, but I mean, that plays...
And look, I don't know their finances. I don't know their situation, but at a certain point, man, that's you. That voice, people know.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, all you have in this world is kind of like your standards, your sort of credibility, who you are, that is going to follow these particular people for a very long time.
Here's the thing too, like, so I've heard it said as the yacht sinking. So
yes,
when the yacht bloody sinks, and you're trying to find a new boat, other yachts, no one's taking you on board.
I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't.
You ain't swimming as an independent either, because nobody's sticking their hand out for you.
We all just
because you made a bunch of bad press. You didn't make a lot of friends. I mean, it's a bad thing to do. Again, maybe they didn't understand culture, but I can't imagine any culture that would go shit on your coworker live. Yeah, that's a thing to do.
Nobody comes out.
No. I think that's world over. Probably not a good idea. I'm just gonna be so bold and
like
say,
said, after a certain point, it's like, I was just following orders. Doesn't really fly.
Yeah. We've established that doesn't work.
Because when you're standing alone, all you have left is your character, your integrity. And if you follow the crowd to the point where you start eroding your own integrity, eventually you're not going to be someone who can stand up tall anymore.
And
nobody wants to deal with that.
Alone at the end.
You really do. I mean, in whatever, even in your own mind, at the end, you're all by yourself. This is a one-way trip, a solo one-way trip. I mean, it really is
right now.
Yeah. Well, it's true though. But let me make this go all the way back. It goes all the way back because a company is not we may give it quote unquote legal status as a person. It's not a person. It is not a person. It's a collection of things. If it is a person and we go, okay, more than legally, if it's a person, a company, a publicly traded company specifically, is a fucking sociopath. Accurate. You don't want that person near your family, in your home, to be your friend. Because they don't give two shits about you. Yes.
Yeah, they use you and spit you out.
Yes. So again, why would somebody want to do it? Like we talked about, like, I want to be a rock star and to do it, and maybe you think you can make it, but again, look for these people. Like, I don't even know if they realized that was going to be the high price they paid. That's
I haven't really read a lot of the numbers, but I have seen the pretty pictures of the bar graphs, and
you see the nosedive, yeah, you see,
and they kept digging.
Yeah.
I think people that want to pursue something usually ask themselves in some form or another one question. And I think we really phrase it in the wrong way. And it's like, would you rather be a has-been or a never was? Yeah. And I think what people are like is, at least if I climbed up to the top, I've made it once. So they see these companies as kind of like this elevator, like thinking they can leverage the elevator, even if the ride to the top doesn't go all the way, or even if you're pushed halfway back down to the bottom, at least it's not starting from zero.
God, I mean, and for what it's worth, from my understanding, she's in a pretty, like, all else aside, like, the bounce back on her end kind of looks like she's gonna be all right, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Deep-ass scars, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like, are the scars worth it? That's for every person to make up their own mind.
Well, even she said, it's funny that if you watch it, because she streams on YouTube, if you watch, she goes, when I started out using this body, because when I started using this body, my voice was very high pitched, and now it's lower because I've seen the real world. Right. Or something to that effect. I'm like, yep, right. You have, sister. So yeah, man, I get it. The thing about it is, I guess you're right, Toluca. In my mind, that's a little too rich for my blood. It's like, hey, Dan, you want to be like a syndicate attorney? That's a little too rich for my blood. I think there are standards we have, and maybe they change as we get older. I think it's different. If you ask me, I don't know. If you ask me if I was very young and look, we grew up in a different time too. Okay. So if you ask me, hey, Dan, do you want to be an amazing singer or something? Or like, how about an amazing actor? And like, here's what you're going to have to do. Yeah, I might have taken it back in the day. So, I mean, I'm not in sort of like, I'm not judging them except for like youth. And that's just a human condition. The only people I judge, the only legally, mandated person I judge is the fucking corporation.
Accurate.
Because fuck those people.
Yeah.
Quote unquote people.
And for what it's worth, I mean, so I feel like there is the chance of a unicorn at some point. Like, it's possible there may or may not be good companies at some point somewhere, but it seems like it's gonna be, if you find a unicorn, you definitely got to keep the unicorn. It's kind of the point.
You really do. And there are hashtag not all corporations. I think
most corporations.
Yeah, most corporations. The thing about it is, when you become publicly traded, legally in this country anyway, and most of the Western companies, it is how do you bring money to your stockholders. So by default, you have to be a sociopath. You think nothing else. How do you bring money to your stockholders? So they force you to be a fucking sociopath. If a company was a human.
Yeah. And different entire like scenario, but I was technically part of not in like in my real life, as it were. I was part of a corporate facility building, and that was awful. Like it's.
Well, I mean, describe. Can you kind of give us some things? Because I was a civil servant most of my life.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to think of the best way I can say it without one, doxing myself, and two, sounding stupid. But like. Ultimately, like the people at the ground level were never in control, and that was a direct like result of being corporate. Is like, okay, so this idea would be a terrible idea if we implemented it here because it doesn't work here, but corporates decided that it works in Hawaii, so we're going with it. It's like, what? But we're in the Northeast. What?
I can say this. I can spare you a bit because my dad used to work for a company called SBC, and that was a company that turned into AT&T. Oh. And this company is based out of Texas, and they have a lot of their people in Texas. So they decide to use equipment and stuff from a certain place in the South, right? That perhaps doesn't work in Maine or the Northeast when it gets rainy and cold and snows. But you know what they still do? Yeah, we're going to use it anyway.
Right, yeah.
Because you know why?
Not a one-size-fits all.
Yeah, because you know why? Fuck them. Because it works for everybody. Here, take it.
Whoa,
like, what? No, that makes no sense. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
okay.
that was more or less the end summit. And to some degree, like, even the middle managers, you kind of had to feel bad for because they know it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. They know. Mm-hmm. They're ostensibly not stupid.
It does make you wonder, like, who is running this thing? Now, don't get me wrong. There's insanity in government. There's plenty of insanity in government. The trick is, like I said, it boils down to what are the main goals. And, if your main goal is to maximize your profit year after year after year, you get a little crazy. I mean, I just don't see how you get by that.
But there were steps that were taken that back into the Vtuber company situation. There are steps that were taken where you look at it and like, really? That's your move. That is the choice you are making in order to make yourself look better.
Yep, you're going with this. Who decided this? Yes. You're going with it. This is how. But again, this is when you have. Look, man, we've had that here too. The corpos speak and stuff. It's like you become so detached from reality. You're in that own sort of world where it's just money that you can't vibe with a normal human being anymore. And that's where you get this. And everybody's going, "Oh my God, how is this possible?" Man, that happens all the time. I mean, it keeps happening, and I'm surprised people are still shocked. I really am. I'm like, wow, you guys didn't figure this would happen? You didn't figure you'd be screwed over? I mean, I don't know.
I want to bring up something else in the discourse that was touched on a little earlier, but I've seen a lot of people defending this corporation because there are a lot of people out there who do. But
I mean,
which they're not going to sleep with you. Okay, so let's back up.
Hey, look, if they got stock in the company, I can see them defending it. Otherwise, I don't know.
Or they have people who they like they're fans, so they're fans of the company, which is not the same thing. Blah blah blah. or they want to be in the company themselves one day and they want to look good. But hold on. I want to go back to this because one of the arguments that I've seen more and more that really sickens me is this whole, this person was mentally unwell. And if you are, let's say, mentally ill, or you have other, things that are happening with you, that you should not be part of a corpo, or that you should know that it's difficult and stressful, and that people who have mental illness, whatever, shouldn't be allowed in case they do attempt unaliving. And I think that's such a wild take, because they're basically saying, we know they're going to be fucked over. We know they're going to be pushed to the brink. Yeah.
That's why we hired her.
It's acceptable that these people are pushed to the brink. And if they jump over themselves, unaliving, or try to, that it's their own fault. And it's like, you just admitted they do everything they can to walk people up to the edge. They overwork them. There is some kind of harassment, or all these hoops to jump through that are just complete bananas. And yet you're saying that, well, it's not the company's fault. If they're literally actively pushing you towards that damn edge, it is the company's fault.
Yeah, they should be looking. Get to the edge, it's their fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's people, if they were in better mental health, they wouldn't do that, and it's her fault.
If they didn't do that, they would be in better mental health.
Yeah, exactly. If they really did care, like they do profess, it wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't. Instead of pushing you toward an edge, they would be like, "Is there anything we can do? Do we need to give you more time? Do we need to talk this through?" They would be doing everything they could, but instead I hear it's like if you were in the military and they're pushing you, and it's like, this is not the fucking military for one.
Time out. Yeah, but hold on, time out. As somebody who's they work with you too. Listen, most reasonable people, including the law, knows that's absolute horseshit. That's absolute horseshit. So no, that doesn't. No, maybe if you're eating crayons or something, then you don't have any wherewithal. But generally, people understand that if you push somebody hard enough. I mean, hey guys, military, right? Ever see a fucking Full Metal Jacket? Why don't you watch that? What happens when you push somebody to the edge?
Is that the
why don't you take a watch that movie?
Is that the one with the alchemy?
That's the one where he shoots the drill sergeant and then himself. That's the one.
So you're trying to make an anime joke. Can you go that?
Oh, sorry. No. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. No. It's a pretty brutal movie, and it's about hey, at a certain point, you just don't do it, and drill sergeants know that, and everybody else. Let's just say any reasonable person knows that. That is such a fanboy or girl comment that it's just, I don't even give it the time of day anymore. Because legally, that's never been the case, okay? Legally, that's bullshit, and it's an old rule, okay? I can't go up to, let's say, okay, how about this? Let's say I punch Otter in the face, right? Hey, guess what? We didn't know Otter has a rare
die today, huh?
Well, here's the deal, right? I don't know you have a rare condition where you're a hemophiliac and you bleed out, right? My defense, it can't be, well, I didn't know he was a hemophiliac. No, fucker. You take the person as they come. Right. We're not all tanks. We have different aspects.
Yeah,
no,
you shouldn't have
never
punched
been
him
that
in the
way.
Face, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you shouldn't have been an asshole in the start. So this argument, they should have been able to stand the rigors. No. No.
It's bullshit.
You don't get to punch somebody in the face and go, it's their fault for being weak. No, sorry.
Yeah, it's their excuse. Yeah, it's just an excuse.
Yeah,
it's a trash
and
excuse.
It's a sick one as well. Because imagine, you're defending a company that pushed someone almost to the brink of Minecraft.
Yeah.
And you're going, if only they were made of stronger stuff. It's not their fault. No, you should be asking, how did you push them that far?
Yeah. How did they come to this?
Yeah.
How did they come to this?
What are you doing? What are you doing, sociopathic company, that is making them do this, that is forcing a lot of them to and I've talked about this with other corporations, but I didn't name names, where I saw really healthy young ladies where a month into it, they have stomach aches, they have headaches, they're not sleeping, their hair is falling out. And this is just the stuff they're talking about on stream and laughing it off. And it's like, gee, that sounds like excessive amounts of like fucking stress.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it is. It really is. In my mind, it is. It's grind them up and then get somebody new. Grind them up and get somebody new. Wouldn't
the world be a better place if everybody if like corporate people had the thought of, well, I want to be that corporation that everybody's like, you know what, they really helped me through a tough time.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Oh, I would love to be that. I would love to be that because I care so much about people. But a lot of people who would do the right thing aren't usually in the position to start those kind of things.
Yeah, well, no, and there's great studies about like, okay, I mean, the interesting study is if you are quote unquote this sociopathic tendency company, who's going to rise to the top? Who rises to the top in those companies?
The sociopath.
Not somebody who goes, Jesus, I'm really concerned about Ed over there. You're not going to be a man. No, that you're not going to rise to the top. You're not squeezing people to maximize your profit. So
we're going to pull our 350 together and we're going to start a VTuber company between the three of us.
Yeah,
we can.
Exactly.
I mean, we can.
Between us.
Sure, let's do
get the
it.
Loch Ness Monster on board.
I'm still pushing for the VTuber retirement home. I think that's got a lot of potential. I see many future VTubers in there.
Bring us your broken, your huddled masses of
damn right.
VTubers.
We'll take them. There, and we have free chicken sandwiches in the deli on Wednesday.
That's going to wipe out our entire $7,
we
Dan.
lost $7
now back up.
Chicken sandwiches alone.
Hey, guy, I mean, I didn't say the size of the sandwich. Work with me here. Come on.
So they're like a burger slider. I get you. We'll be able to fit at least a couple of chicken sandwiches.
Yeah. I got you covered. Don't worry about it.
Fast forward to the conspiracy.
Chicken sandwich gate.
Chicken sandwich gate. They clucked up Florida. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say about corporations, or do we want to move on to another topic in our 20 minutes remaining?
No, I guess I guess I understand. And before you do something like that, I know you're young, but think long and hard. And get a fucking attorney to read that goddamn contract.
Yes, have an escape. Always have an attorney with you. I know it's a lot of money up front, but you'll thank yourself down the road.
Yeah, if you're going to join a company, have somebody that's not involved in that company look everything over.
Yeah, because technically, what I hear is that person effectively made no money last year because they spent it all in trying to and it's like a school teacher who bankrupts themselves because the school isn't giving them anything and to buy supplies and stuff for the kids, which is, hey, fucking honorable and amazing. But it's one of those questions like, why do they have to do that? No, that's not appropriate. Yeah, that's yes. Accurate. So that's what we got there.
All right. So that said, I long since lost the wheel because the Google Chrome window crashed at the very beginning of the stream, but I knew what we were starting with. So I know another topic on our list was, and I guess it's kind of related to this overarching conversation, the concept of burnout as a VTuber.
Okay.
It feels, and that's the one I remember right off the top of my head, so that's what we're gonna go with. So, for a blanket definition of burnout, who wants to take the wheel on that one?
Go for it, Toluca.
Oh, thank you.
That's what you guys get.
You go first.
Volunteering.
No.
Yeah, go first.
Okay, the way I see it is that when you have burnout, you are either working yourself to the bone where you're stretching yourself too thin, that you actually can be depressed, stressed out, have no more enjoyment of things, even if you're not clinically depressed. You just end up like not wanting to do something anymore, not being invigorated anymore, or even having worse mental health problems. And I think that's the way I see it. But it can manifest in so many different ways, from physically, like you're always tired or you can't sleep, to just like the major signs of like depression or whatever.
All right, sounds good. Dan, do you have anything to add to the definition of burnout?
No, but I think that's spot on. I can say I've experienced it. I mean, as a prosecutor, I guarantee you I experienced it as a guardian. When, and at a certain point, it's a detriment to yourself. It's a detriment to your job. It's a detriment to other people who depend on you. And it's something really hard. And that I think, and I'm going to spin this, I think the youngins have a better understanding of it than we do. And I know I was saying before, it's like, oh, but I see push for mental health days. I see pushing for like mental health being part of sick time. And I'm all in favor of that. And that is not something that people our age would, I'm like, oh my God, no, 100%. It's important because for people, and I know I read, God, The Artist's Way years ago, and one thing that really struck me.
Sentences in a row there, Dan.
Oh no, it's called The Artist's Way. Well, no, it's called The Artist's Way. But one thing that really struck me, and I think this is for everyone, not just creative people, but it was like it said creative people have to refill their tank. I think humans have to refill their tank. They really do. Accurate. And our American take 3 days for a vacation specifically ain't cutting it. Sometimes you need to step away, or if it's bad enough, you need to do something else. Accurate. You really do.
And tying it back into the original conversation, I think what the concept of the company should be is to help creators not hit burnout, right? Like, isn't that the whole point?
Yeah,
shouldn't that be their job one? I mean, yes. Because at a certain point, you're hurting. I mean, this is what that blows me away. It because it is churn and burn. They don't really see it as, hey, this person's a viable asset. We can do this and have this person last longer. Almost like, okay, it sounds silly, but almost like, hey, they made the rules different in NFL, so the quarterbacks can last longer. Well, they last longer. You get to go to the Super Bowl more often. Get it? You get to have this institutionalized talent and knowledge last longer. It is a very hand to mouth thing. And I don't know where we've gotten it, but we need to step away from it and go, hey, this isn't healthy. This is not healthy.
I think everybody's kind of made a good point. It's not even, don't even need to necessarily be talking about VTuber burnout.
No, it's life. Yeah.
But like,
mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, in a former life, you know, I saw just hello bean, right. I don't know if you guys could actually hear her zooming by me.
Yeah. We heard the zooming. The zoomers. I gave her
a Valentine's Day balloon, and she's running around with it. Anyways, like, so in a former life, I saw some of the worst burnout because I worked in nursing care. Like, I was not myself a medical affiliate, but like, bro, like having the livelihood of another creature be, especially a human creature, be entirely reliant on you not screwing up, that is a burden, yo.
Yeah, that's it's a heavy responsibility.
Sure.
Like, and those people got like no breaks, no vacations. Like, and I know this is a little off the road of the whole VTuber thing. I get that, but it kind of ties back into overall burnout, I think.
And it is a part of working if you're not careful. It's a major part of doing it. I think any sort of thing for too long. I really do.
All right, so then let's turn this on its head. Let's give a little glimmer of hope at least. Like strategies for mitigating burnout. What do you guys think? What are your strategies?
Man, I don't know. Listen, I mean, okay, we'll do that. But I mean, can you name people? Right? I mean, we can name people right off the bat who we know in real time, because VTubing is not that old, who've burned out and disappear. I mean, Taka, I guess he may come back eventually. Cabal is gone. Love to watch both of them. There's a lot of like content creators and stuff, and they're all quote unquote independents, but so effectively they've burned themselves out. You know, they don't have somebody over their heads except them. So you become your worst enemy. So I guess to mitigate
the other side of it, isn't it?
Yeah, to mitigate it, you have to be like fucking put a poster up or something and say, I'm allowing myself to take some time fucking off. You know, I don't know, because effectively your worst enemy can be fucking you.
Well, that
You know?
and like all the algorithms that determine whether our content even gets seen.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
hello, Bean.
Yes.
Like a lot of it. So, for example, like me as my lowly self, I don't really care if like I can take a week. Like I haven't made shorts in like a week,
Gotcha.
and I'll probably be getting back to it starting next week. But like because I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit tired. Like I have that flexibility, but like I don't rely on this to make my money.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it is strictly a hobby for me. The people that are doing this as a livelihood, like
Yeah.
I cannot imagine like being able to put food on the table, being entirely reliant on an algorithm that you have no control over.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what it looks like. Like it is the hidden beast.
Yeah, it's the black box. It is so completely the black box that you have no
Yeah,
idea.
you're supposed to churn everything out and then hope something hits.
Yep.
So literally, that's what it is. You try to do quality, but eventually you just keep trying to pump out the quantity and hope something sticks to the wall where the algorithm picks you up and starts showing you outside of your own small pond. And that in itself can lead to such burnout because you don't know where you're even looking, much less how to do it. So all you can do is like either try so many different things and then sink yourself because you're out of your wheelhouse, you're not doing what you're enjoying anymore because you're trying all this off the wall stuff, or you're churning out the exact same thing hoping that one of them has the right tags on it, the right title on it, a good thumbnail.
Sees it.
Yeah, something that propels you forward. And one of the things is taking time for yourself, but some of that can be if you can delegate to somebody you trust. Most of us don't have money to like outsource or or you know, like
Most of us
hire
don't
an
have
editor.
money, full stop.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but like when you go back to like caregiving, it's like if you have somebody else who's also a caregiver to that person that can help you because you can share the load. So if you can't take time away, if you can't have somebody else to like share the load or outsource, then you have very limited options. And some of the only things I can actually tell you are engage with something that is specifically just for you. Like if you're like a musician, but you also like sculpt, don't make sculpting your job. Make sculpting something that you hold just for you. Don't monetize it. Don't like put it out there as a thing that you can make you famous. Just if your money has to come from your music, then keep something for yourself, because part of burnout is literally you trying to give so much of yourself away that it all becomes something to be monetized or exploited, and you literally run out of everything.
That makes good sense. Yeah. Do something completely different. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So do something for yourself. Yeah, I like it.
I cannot fathom the ability of people to keep up with like, and that's the other thing is being a creator on the internet is so mercurial. Like every day it's something different that is either the no word or the yes word, and you never know when you get on, like if somebody goes on like and makes a post about, I don't know, like okay, so recently Pal World, right, was the big trigger thing.
Yeah.
You know, you either happen to find the people that were gonna give you death threats over it, or you happen to find the people that supported it, and you don't know which group you're gonna be in front of.
Yep.
What is that? That is not stable.
No,
right?
It's not.
And
because
living in
those,
that.
Yeah.
Living in that unstable world, that's going to take its toll on you faster than anything else. What is that? Oh my good lord, I should know this.
You are right as far as mercurial go, because you can actually have in any sort of entertainment content business, you have a bunch of people, dedicated haters that are fucking crashing your your algorithm or something. Like if you're small enough, they can do some serious damage.
Okay,
They
yeah,
get together. It's like, hey, fuck this guy, or this gal.
So
yeah.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I knew I was going to be able to find it.
All right.
Like
Uh-huh.
number 2 on the pyramid is safety, and then right after that is belonging. Those 2 things are not guaranteed in this particular field.
No.
Right.
They're like the least guaranteed thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
100%.
And then underneath that is physiological safety, which, if you can't put food on the table, you ain't got that either. Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true. I don't know. I have talked to pro quote unquote VTubers, and I respect the fuck out of them because I don't know how they do it.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it.
That's one of the reasons.
God bless me.
Yeah, I don't think I ever want to get big. I just want to do my stupid little otter thing and be a happy little otter and make my money in a stable job in the real world and come home and be an idiot on the internet. That's all I want to do.
Do you guys think you can be a professional and not look at the algorithm? Because that seems like part of the death sentence, just looking at the algorithm in itself, because people always talk about that. That's the beginning of sort of the end.
Well, so here's the thing, though. Like, can you theoretically? Maybe. Can you, like, realistically? No, absolutely not. Because back to that whole stability thing, wanting to have a stable, know where your next meal's coming from, know you're going to be okay to make your money. Like, you need to know what the algorithm's going to look like. You need to know what's popular, what's popping, what's going to get you the views, what's going to be the thing that actually gets you seen, and it's like a carrot on a stick.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think there's a way to do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, hobbyist is the way to go, because you're safe, you're free, you're doing your thing, and it's really just like it's such an unstable field that putting your hat all your chips in that particular table, that's dangerous, yo.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't know how you can do it. Okay, in the perfect world, right? In a Star Trekian universe, you would go to this talent agency and they would make sure and take care of you and make sure you weren't going to burn yourself out because they value you as not a commodity, but as a human being. We don't live in that place. We don't live in that place. Anyway. So you're going to have to do it yourself because there ain't nobody else. So I guess that's how to minimize it. However you can fucking do that, So, yeah.
So on that uplifting note, we are approaching our hour, and the bean is rapidly spiraling towards bedtime. So why don't we go ahead and wrap it up there? So any final comments on anything we've talked about today? Toluca, you've been quiet for a period of time. Let's target you now.
Well, like I said, try to remember that if you are not in a good space to create content, you will not do the best for your audience. You will not put out, most of the time, content you're going to be proud of long term. So if there is any way that you can mitigate that for yourself, please do. Because one of the things we talked about with corpos is that they will... It's like burnout. They will, instead of burnout, burn you up. They will take you, throw the log on their fire, and use your decaying corpse figuratively to get warm.
Yeah,
to warm themselves.
Indies burn themselves out. Corporates are burned out.
Yeah. So, please just try to remember that you cannot create content if you are not around. If you are not whole, your content will suffer. The people who do like you, even if it's only 3, they will notice. And
treasure those 3 people.
Yeah, you treasure them, but you are way more important than just your next algorithm fix.
Accurate. Dan, any final comments?
Yeah, I guess, be kind to yourself. The Buddha, compassion for all means yourself included. So that's the trick, man. Just be kind to yourself because ain't nobody else going to do it. It ain't going to happen.
And you know what? And I saw one. It's the weirdest thing to say, but one of my buddies on Twitter has been recently posting, of all things, daily. They're called daily, I think, buffomations, Baphomet, like the Church of Satan. But
nice. Okay.
But like one that she posted like just today or the other day was like the power to say no is a miraculous thing or something like that.
Nice.
So
Yep.
that one struck me. It didn't strike me enough for me to remember the wording correctly, but there's the message for you. So
Nice.
Until next time, everybody. This has been Dan Tansky, Monster Hunter.
I'm driving.
He's driving. Toluca Turtle.
Don't give me the map.
Don't give her the map. And myself, Otter, the Otter Dad VTuber. Until next time, everybody, we will see you out on the road. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.